Hello and welcome back to Art with Mo. My name's Monique. In today's video, we are going to be doing a sketchbook tour. I started this sketchbook in August of 2021, on the 18th to be exact, and I finished the sketchbook January of 2022. For the goals that I wanted to accomplish, I think that I did a good job with doing hand studies, gouache paintings. I think I could have done better with gesture drawing because there's only a few pages of that, as well as anatomy studies. I did some, but I could have done more, and mixed media. I did really well with that too. The first page, I did a study of hands, and this is one of my favorite pages of this entire sketchbook because I thought these hands were going to be difficult, but they weren't that bad. And then on the page on the right, I did another study from Unsplash, and these are melons. I did it in gouache just to see how well it would work out, and I like it. The page on the left here, I try to do some more studies. This picture here is on my Instagram, and it's a draw this in your style. The picture on the right is also from unsplash.com. It's just a fruit study that I did in gouache. I really like this one. There were some challenging bits, but I learned a lot. Here are some more gesture studies. These are from Pinterest. And then this picture here on the right, it's Kayla Creatives Draw This in Your Style. I have the finished piece up on my Instagram. On the left here, it was a Patreon challenge. So with Jessica Carp, and I used gouache, and then I painted downwards with water for gradient. These studies on the right here are from a book called Anatomy for the Artist by Sarah Simblett. I can't really show you too much of this book because there are some parts that are not appropriate. So there's just a small page there. This study here is also from that book. I put that up on TikTok, started out with a sketch, and then put pen right on top. And this one on the right here was also gouache, I believe, and it was the same kind of study for layering for Jessica Carp's Patreon. And the one on the left is also from her Patreon, done in gouache as well. And then the one on the right here, that's my first portrait that I did in gouache, and I think it turned out pretty good, which I was nervous about, but it looks good. I like it. And for these next two pieces, they are both from Jessica Carp's Inktober prop list in October, and I have a video for both of these on my YouTube channel if you'd like to check them out. All the links will be linked down below. You can also find these pieces on my Instagram, but I did these two pieces with ink. I used these orange pieces here on the left to cover up my marker bleeds from the previous portraits. Here is my take on glow. It was October, so I drew a pumpkin in colored pencil. This one was just the prompt clover, so it's a clover. It's pretty simple there. For radiate, I wanted to do a radiating love because Jessica Carp's always talking about love in her pieces. I drew some sketches of hummingbirds. And then this is an unfinished piece of bloom, but it is done in gouache, and I hope to come back to it someday. The piece on the right is just a sketch of a building. Here is another piece that I did in gouache, and I really like how this one turned out with all the colors. I think I could have done better with her body, but overall it looks really good. The one on the right here, it's supposed to be a dog. I might come back to it later. So the one on the left is just a quick study, as well as the hands on the right. The circles on the left, it's from a Skillshare class that I am taking. just working on form and getting it down. The one on the right here is of peonies, and again, this is for Jessica Karp's Inktober that she did in October. Here are some circles that I drew and ovals. These two are for the Skillshare class. The one on the left is for the Prompt Olive, and the one on the right is for Angelfish, and these are both for Jessica Karp's Inktober prompt list. I do want to come back and add color to both of these, so we'll see if that happens. Fingers crossed that it does, because I do want to practice that a little bit more. And the opal page, for some reason, I didn't do it, and I realized when I recorded this video that it wasn't done. But we'll see what happens if I can get to it. This one on the left here, it's for love. I really wanted to draw flowers, so I did it with pencil and pen. The one on the right is for violet, and I found this reference on Unsplash, and I used gouache. And these two here, I have a turtle, and I really like how this one turned out. I used a reference from Unsplash and just inked it. And then this one on the right, it was book, but I wanted the book to come to life, so I added a house and some trees, and this is actually the first time that I drew trees, and I think that they turned out really well, especially with ink, something I'm not too comfortable with. And here are some horses. This horse here was the first one that I drew, and I almost forgot about the whole page and just didn't even do it, but I redeemed myself with these blue ones, and I think those ones look much better. The circles on the right are from my Skillshare class, and they're just different shapes, sizes. They're not shapes, but different sizes and different angles. And here are some cylinders, also from that same Skillshare class. And then I have perspective on the right. It's 1-point perspective, and I did use the same horizon line for all of them to save some paper. We've got the fruit here that was from Jessica Karp's Patreon. And then these two are also from her Patreon, just a live session that she did, and it was a paint-along. The one on the right here is actually my favorite gouache piece that I've done so far. I know it was follow along, but it turned out really well. And then the one on the left here, I was trying to use gouache as watercolor so that it wasn't so opaque, and I don't really like how it turned out, and the paper ripped, so it didn't plan out very well, but it's okay. And here are some more perspective studies. I have this piece here. That one is also on TikTok if you want to see it, all done in marker and colored pencil. For this one, it's for Jessica's Patreon, and we were just doing some color studies for both of these. And if you can't tell, this whole sketchbook is about studies. It's not super beautiful, but that's quite okay with me because I use my sketchbooks as studies and not for masterpieces all the time. So these are sketches, and the previous page, these are sketches for my niece. I went with this one here for the final piece. There's some things that are changed, but it's pretty similar. And then this one started out as a sketch. If you'd like to see that, go ahead and head over to my Instagram. The sketch looked really good, so I decided to put marker on top of it, and I really like the features of her face. So this one, not my favorite piece that I've done, but it was a learning process, and I'm glad that I did it. And for these, I got the idea from Natasha on Instagram. She did some ornaments, and I wanted to color some too. And here are just some more random circles, always getting that practice in, And here are two gouache studies. I really like the lemon over here. I think it turned out really well. Both of these pictures, the references are both on Unsplash. The one on the right here, I gessoed my paper before, and the gouache didn't really blend together how I was used to. So I don't know if I'm going to be using gesso again, we'll see. If I can figure it out, then I will. But I didn't like how this piece turned out. I think it could have been better if I hadn't used the gesso. Alright, and these are 10 heads that I did for Elena Bouya's Instagram account. And my daughter finished my last page, which is pretty dang cute if you ask me. My phone's supposed to be on the right, and that's a little dude like shooting lasers at my phone. And then we've got swatches on this side. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye.